Welcome to the HealthLinks podcast. I'm DJ Thatcher, your host, and this podcast is brought to you by the HealthLinks family of services. Our mission here is to engage in conversations related to the health and medical landscape of South Carolina so that we're all better informed. As a reminder, our podcasts now have a video component as well, so you can see our guests and perhaps some images and videos that we might have as well. So check that out if you've only been listening up until now. Well, in this episode, we're going to do some trash talking, specifically about medical and biohazard waste. We have two guests with us who have a new startup company that is going to be of interest to each of us. So we do welcome with us today Youmna Squalli and David Squalli of EcoSteris. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, DJ. Thanks for having us.
Hello.
Absolutely. Now, I know you've got some new technology. I understand first of its type in the nation that we want to hear all about. But hey, right from the top, for the average South Carolinian who's tuning in, why would anyone care about medical waste or biohazard waste?
Well, it's an important topic. So as soon as any one of us goes to a doctor's office and gets their vaccine shots, you wonder what happened to the waste after that. And imagine if that waste is not properly treated or disposed of. I'm sure everybody will agree that we will have some issues of wide range of diseases that spreading beyond the office doctor visit. So medical waste proper treatment and disposal is of a critical needs. It's not a nice to have, but it's a must have for both the waste generators, doctors, dentists, vets, clinics, and hospitals, and the users or the patients, and beyond that, it's a critical to our public health and environment.
You know, we do see, of course, in the news almost every day some news about environmental concerns. So whether we're a medical practitioner, a patient, or not, obviously this is something that affects each of us. So thanks for that. Now, up until this point in time, over the past many decades, how has medical or biohazard waste traditionally been treated?
So the medical waste industry started in the late 90s, where in the shores of New Jersey, we have seen sharps and needles washing out of the shores.
I've experienced that.
And I'm sure you have, and I'm sure others have seen it. And of course, that raised a lot of questions and the impact on closing shores, pushed to enact some laws and regulations. The EPA got involved. Fast forward, we started seeing the incineration of medical waste as a viable option. The issue with the incineration is the emission. Medical waste incinerators, they were directly linked to dioxin and carcinogens, and they pushed for closures or to phase away from incineration as a whole. And the last 10, 15 years, we start seeing a more different alternative of treatment, such as autoclaving or chemical processing, microwaving, and today those are the widely used options in the market.
David, I know you're the Vice President of Operations. Youmna, you're the President and CEO of EcoSteris. So now tell us about your new company.
Absolutely. We the way we came into the idea of having EcoSteris is when we moved to Charleston back in 2015. We started treating the medical waste at MUSC Hospital. And the business model over there was a little bit different than what we're doing today. We installed a machine at the hospital in downtown, and we were treating only the medical waste generated from MUSC alone. In the past years, we thought, or we figured out, that the growth will be a little bit harder to go outside the walls of MUSC, and that's why we thought the idea of having a centralized facility would benefit us better. So we chose Somerville after getting the permit for the state of South Carolina, we chose Somerville to be the hub where we can build the facility, have the treatment there, and do the collection from any waste generator, small or large, and treat it at the facility in Somerville.
So how does your technology differ now? Because David just described incineration and so forth. What does EcoSteris do that's different?
We actually have two exciting things that we're doing differently when it comes to the operation in EcoSteris. One, we are first and foremost, we're definitely not using any kind of chemicals or burning when it comes to treating the medical waste. We have an autoclave system where we autoclave the waste when we receive it. But the interesting thing and the one of its kind approach or process that we're doing at EcoSteris is, one, we are having a fully automated operation. So when the waste arrives at the facility from hospitals and clinics, our operators have zero contact with the waste, which I think is very big. And if we learned anything from the pandemic is trying to get less and less contact with any kind of medical waste in hospitals, clinics, and even in treatment facilities. So that's something big that we are pushing to have at EcoSteris. So when the waste arrives to the facility, it gets dumped automatically in the big carts, and it will move and gets treated in the autoclave without any involvement of the operator. The second interesting thing that we're doing at EcoSteris is the double shredding process. So after the waste is treated, it goes into a shredding process where the waste will come out unrecognizable, and the volume of the waste as well will be reduced to up to 85% in terms of volume.
To back up for a moment, you talk about the autoclave process versus incineration. So the autoclave is basically a sterilization. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. So the autoclave, the system that we're using is a static advanced steam sterilizer, where it will take, process, neutralize the waste, convert it to regular type safe waste. As Youmna mentioned, after the autoclaving, we do what we call post double shredding process in order to eliminate the any liability that might come with normal recognizable ways that can be picked up, used, seen, and of course the biggest advantage that we have is the reduction in volume. Reduction in volume translates to reduction in number of trips to the landfill. So from a CO2 footprint perspective, that's a huge reduction for a company such ours that are priding ourselves into sustainability and environmentally friendly company.
Yeah, very interesting. So whether medical waste is incinerated or whether it is sterilized in the autoclave and then shredded, it eventually ends up in a landfill, correct?
Correct. The problem with incineration, the aftermath of the waste, so it's no longer a waste, but it's mostly ash, heavy metals. So when you use incineration as a way, you will end up with heavy metals. So it should not go to the landfills. That will be a very alarming proposition to anyone, including the landfill, to accept incinerated waste into their landfill. So a proper process will be to go into chemical treatment plant or storage plant versus a landfill, if incineration is the way to that has been used.
Okay. I want to hear more about this, but I'm always interested in just how people end up serving their fellow, mankind and so forth. How did you get into this industry? What was the driver behind all of this? So
we, like Youmna mentioned, so I'm a electrical engineer from Georgia Tech. So I'm, through my career, I've been always intrigued by technology and innovation. So I stayed in the industry for 20 plus years pushing for innovative approach to medical waste, including free shredding, autoclaving away from incineration that we have seen in the 2000s. So the business model has needed to evolve from a on-site treatment to an off-site process. So we moved away from one client and one facility at the point of generation to a more commercialized off-site facility that will service a wider range of clients, especially the small waste generators that could not and will not be able to purchase their own equipment and utilize it at their point of generation. So we're here to serve not only the hospitals, but the small waste generators because of the need that they need, because of their needs.
Youmna, I know I saw a picture here, and we'll probably include this in the podcast, both of that great photo of the medical waste before and after the double shredding. That's a dramatic. And also saw this photo of the beautiful facility that you've built. Tell us more about that. And is it up and running yet, or what's your time frame?
We finished construction last month. The facility is located at Fabricator Street in Somerville. We thought it's a good location for us to be able to service the state in general, because our permit allows us to do to service the waste in all South Carolina. So we ended up having Somerville as our centralized location. The facility is around 13 square foot space where we utilize each and every inch to make sure that we have the maximum availability to treat and store the medical waste on site at the facility.
I can imagine the permitting process for building a medical waste facility. That's got to set up all sorts of red flags. How long did that whole process take to get permission?
The process takes exactly about 295 days. So it's a year. Mm-hmm. And rightly so. I mean, we believe in good regulation to protect us and the public and the customers. So we're not against any regulations. We really think that the regulations are there to serve a purpose, and with good regulations, we still see violators that come into the industry, taking waste, storing it in facilities that are not permitted under no supervisions. So I think DF is, we are here to commend DF for the work they do. They've been a good partners with us through the years. They are very demanding, and we like that. So we don't shy away from good regulations because we believe it serves a need.
That's terrific. You've got high standards. So good shout out to DHEC there. So,
absolutely.
I noticed of the many licenses and certifications you have, one of those is to be a carrier of this type of waste. So do you have your own fleet of vehicles that bring things to the new center in Somerville, or how does that work?
Correct. So basically, there are, as a matter of fact, there are different rules and regulations that governs the facility, the treatment facility, and a set of rules that governs the transportation. So we have both the transporter permits for our fleets with their own rules and regulations, and we have a permit for the facility with its own set of rules and regulations, and also for the technology that is being used. That's on top of the local building codes and all that stuff that we need to abide by. So, when you hear about regulations and how extensive they are, yes, they are. They're not easy. It takes a long time. It requires a lot from anyone who enters the market, and rightly so.
You've got a terrific website that illustrates all that you do. It's simple to navigate. What is that website? Of course, we'll put a link to it here as well. But what is that again?
The website is www.ecosteris.com. And it has all kind of information when it comes to medical waste and the way we're treating it. And it also will allow our customers to have access to any kind of compliance training, whether it's HIPAA or OSHA compliance. And that's something that we offer for our clients as well, in addition to the service of their medical waste.
That's good. Yeah. At the outset here, I said, why would the average, South Carolinian care about this? And looking at the website, it's not just about the traditional hospitals or doctors' offices, medical waste. I'm looking here that you're involved in things such as, well, first of all, confidential document disposal. So, law firms and corporate business offices and so forth. So you're involved in the shredding and the waste of that too, it sounds like.
That's part of the integrated services that we do. But, obviously, we believe that for document shredding, there are companies that are specialized in that. Those are services that we provide to our medical waste generators. If they want a one-stop solution, then we provide it. But we do not provide a document shredding to law offices if they don't have some medical waste as part of their waste stream.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, I looked here too. It was really shocking how many different areas we might see this type of waste coming from. So obviously we know about hospitals, but nursing homes and of course dialysis centers. We have those dotted all across the state. Veterinary clinics. Don't think about that, but that's a form of medical waste. And then animal slaughtering or meat packing facilities, and then airports. It says and even I do a lot of travel. I've noticed that at public restrooms, there are needle boxes in the public restrooms, I guess for diabetics or for maybe illicit drugs or something to dispose of. So I guess those types of clients are ones you might service as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. Ports, airports, because of the nature of the waste, the unknown nature of the waste that they receive, they need to be cautious and aware of the fact that proper treatment and disposal of that type of waste is critical to their operation and to their travelers and crews.
So what you're doing, I understand, is a first of its type in the nation, and that's a great opportunity. I'm sure it's a big hurdle too to get that, get noticed in the marketplace. What's your plan for that? How are you reaching out to people?
I mean, we're trying as hard as possible to use the platform to educate our clients, and one of the biggest things we want to do is raise the awareness to the importance of having a proper medical waste plan when it comes to small practices and large waste generators, because as we talked about earlier, it's not only the healthcare provider that gets affected. There's impact on patients, impact on the employees that are working there. So what we're trying to do is to raise that awareness and hopefully bring those, clients on board with us to be able to deliver that sustainable approach.
And I would like to add one very critical aspect of that. Medical waste is always the responsibility of the waste generators from start to finish. So selecting the right partner to handle that responsibility is critical to the clinics and the hospitals. So we always encourage our potential customers to audit their service providers before selecting them for those services. You'll be surprised how many service providers out there are cutting corners, doing things that are not supposed to, taking away, storing it in facilities that are not permitted, that are not governed by any rules and regulations, and and putting their own customers, not to say their own selves, at risk, financial risks, PR nightmares, and putting their workers and their customers at risk. So you'll be surprised.
The good thing that we are doing also here is you've got to understand. So we are the second permit in the state of South Carolina. The majority of the waste that is treated today in the state goes either to one facility in Colombia or goes outside the state of South Carolina. So you have the risk of that waste transported on our roads. And I mean, apart from the carbon emission that happens when these wastes are on the trucks, any accident that can happen, spills, I mean, that's a major thing that we are eliminating when it comes to any waste generator in the Low Country. So that's something that we tend to kind of push clients to know and understand. And the other thing that we are trying to do when it comes to communicating with our clients is, yes, we do want to have waste to treat, obviously, to stay in the business, but we are also pushing and educating them on how to segregate waste properly. Because as you know, I mean, only 20% of any waste that gets generated from hospitals is actually infectious and needs to be treated. The rest is normal waste that can be just dumped anywhere in the regular trash. So that process is something that we would like to work together with our clients in trying to reduce that number as much as possible and educate the staff, the nurses, the whoever is handling that waste to kind of know what goes in and what doesn't.
As a clinical nurse coming from a trauma center, I know that we were kind of beaten over the head all the time to make sure we separate, red bag waste from regular trash. Absolutely. Because of the tremendous expense. It can be a challenge. I understand. Is there a cost difference at all between traditional incineration versus what you're doing, or is it about the same but a better environmental impact? What does that look like?
Yes, I mean, incineration traditionally, the right way of incineration with pollution controls practices is much, much more expensive than what we are proposing. What we're proposing should be much cheaper than the traditional autoclave process in place. And that's because of our overhead, the automated process in place, the volume reduction of the waste. So we should be much cheaper from a cost perspective without talking about the sustainability advantages that we present to our customers. So we're striving to be cost added value to our customers in this process. Absolutely.
Well, that should perk the ears up of anyone who is involved in this for sure. So, hey, your new facility, are you fully staffed now? Are you looking for help? Hey, what's that impact been on the local Somerville community?
As Youmna mentioned, so the construction is complete. The equipment installation should be starting sometimes this week. We're in the wait for the delivery of the equipment. And we should be starting March 1st. So, we encourage anybody to go to our website to provide us with their and apply online. We are creating jobs and we're part of this community. So absolutely. So
what types of positions do you have available?
So we have office managers position, office assistants, drivers, operators, equipment operators that are still available. So we're hiring.
Pretty full spectrum. Well, good. Well, thanks for that impact on that Somerville, South Carolina community too. I'm sure they appreciate that. So
and we appreciate being there. It has been a great location for us. We're thrilled to be there. We're very close to. We're strategically positioned to service anybody in the Low Country and the upstate. So if anybody is listening, please reach out to us. Let us help you reduce your costs and do the right thing with your medical waste.
And that was one of my last questions too about, hey, do you service the whole state or is there a geographic location? But that answers that.
Yeah, we are focused, obviously, with the start of the business, we're focused more on the low country, but we do have the availability to service the state as a whole.
Yeah, so our property is about 19 million pounds per minute. We can add to the capacity if we need to, but there's enough capacity to easily service the low country and the upstate. So the numbers doesn't make a lot of sense to anyone listening, but we have the ability and the technology to do so.
Any final words for our listeners and viewers? And again, we'll put a few images up here of the before and after and what the facility looks like.
Of course. We first would like to thank you for the support and for having us and for raising the awareness when it comes to medical waste treatment. We just would like to tell clients, whether it's a healthcare industry, small offices or clinics, that it's important to have a proper plan when it comes to medical waste, because it does have impact on the staff, the patients, and the community itself. So we hope that we can raise awareness when it comes to medical waste, and we would like to also highlight the fact that we are doing it in a sustainable way. We are a local business in Somerville, South Carolina, and we wish to get the support from all the small clinics and big hospitals around the area.
Terrific. Well, Youmna Squalli, David Squalli, so much for joining us here in the HealthLinks podcast. It's been an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And folks, send us any questions or comments you have, as well as ideas for future episodes of the HealthLinks podcast. And that can be sent to listen@healthlinkspodcast.com. Again, for the HealthLinks team, I'm DJ Thatcher. Thanks for listening.